This is the story of a duck family, Mac, Pam, and their ducklings Dax and Gwen. They lived near Lake Masthead, spending their days searching for food and enjoying each other's company. Mac often warned Dax and Gwen about the dangers beyond the lake, cautioning them against leaving. In contrast, Pam shared stories to comfort them. Their routine life carried on until one day when a group of migrating ducks stopped by the lake. Pam was excited by their arrival, but Mac remained wary, reminding the family of the risks of leaving. Despite this, Dax and Gwen were curious about the newcomers, and Kim. She asked if they planned to migrate too, but Gwen insisted they would stay at the lake to keep safe. Feeling sorry, Kim kindly invited Dax, Gwen, and their family to migrate together and enjoy the beach in the southern region. However, Mac interrupted and forbade them from interacting with the migrating ducks. Just as they were about to leave, Kim's parents, leaders of the migration group, invited them to join. Pam was tempted by the idea of migrating, but Mac insisted they stay at the lake. Despite changing weather and circumstances, he was adamant about keeping the family there. This revealed Mac's selfishness to Pam, Dax, and Gwen. Pam confessed her desire to explore the wilderness with her children, but Mac always kept them confined to the lake, prioritizing his own desires over their happiness. That night, Mac sought advice from Uncle Dan, hoping to understand his family's desires better. Although everything they needed was at the lake, Mac wondered if it truly brought them happiness. Uncle Dan urged him not to wait until it was too late for his family to leave him alone, and suggested starting their migration journey together. After their conversation, Mac realized that there is no greater happiness than family happiness. Grateful for Uncle Dan's guidance, Gwen invited him to join their journey, symbolizing Mac's change of heart. With newfound determination, Mac and his family prepared to leave the lake they had called home for so long. As they flew, a storm approached, and they sought shelter from a heron, despite their suspicions about his intentions. Mac, Dax, and Gwen tried to leave, but Pam persuaded them to stay temporarily, sensing potential danger outside. After the storm passed, Mac urged his family to leave the heron's house, but they were intercepted by the heron. Initially, it seemed like the heron was targeting Dax and Gwen, but then it became clear that he was protecting them from a predatory fish. Mac and Pam apologized for misjudging the heron solely based on his appearance. Their overnight stay taught the ducks not to judge others by their looks. Grateful for the heron's protection, they continued their migration, receiving provisions for their journey. Dax and Gwen enjoyed the journey, inviting Mac, Pam, and Uncle Dan to play in the clouds. Unknowingly, they flew far until they reached a city with towering skyscrapers, a sight unfamiliar to the ducks accustomed to natural landscapes. Mac, Dax, and Gwen found themselves lost in a city filled with pollution and towering buildings. Their aimless flight led them to crash into a garbage dump. Suddenly, Uncle Dan got stuck on a building, but the wind eventually carried him to a city park. Rushing to his aid, they found Uncle Dan fighting with pigeons led by Chump, who resented the duck's presence. Pam then explained their migration journey to Chump, seeking directions southward. Understanding their plight, Chump agreed to help and took them to meet her friend Delroy. Delroy, feeling homesick for Jamaica, was saddened by their request for directions. Dax empathized with Delroy's longing and sought to free him from his cage, but they needed the key held by Master Chef. Not wanting to put his son in danger, Mac decided to retrieve the key himself. While Master Chef was busy in the kitchen, Mac cunningly found the key in his jacket pocket, disguised as various food ingredients. Surprisingly, Pam was also there to assist him. However, their actions caught Master Chef's attention. Despite their efforts to escape, they ended up in the midst of a salsa dance party. Forced to blend in, Pam and Mac danced alongside the humans to slip away unnoticed. Meanwhile, Master Chef remained determined to capture the ducks, leading them to his office. Fortunately, just before they were caught, Mac tossed the key to Delroy, who had been trapped for years. Delroy, grateful for his freedom, admired Mac's bravery. Mac, surprised by his own actions, realized he was capable of more than he thought. With Delroy as their guide, the ducks resumed their journey southward, and they thanked Chump for her kindness, which had led them to Delroy and ensured their safe passage. During their journey, Gwen suddenly needed a bathroom break, leading the group to pause. While waiting, they heard Gwen cry out, spotting an eye behind some bushes. After investigating, Mac found a picture of birds above a basement door. Intrigued, he led the group inside, where they overheard a conversation linked to the geese barn. Gugu, the geese's leader, warmly welcomed them, explaining the farm's luxurious amenities provided by the farmer. However, Dax stumbled upon Master Chef's food supply truck, revealing the farm's true purpose was to raise geese for food. Dax attempted to intervene, but it was too late. The geese were already being loaded onto the truck. Mac and Dax tried to convince Gugu of the truth, but the geese were already inside the truck. Realizing the impending danger, Dax entered the truck to warn the geese of their fate. Suddenly, the head chef spotted Dax and injured his wings. Mac intervened, attacking Master Chef to save his son. With Mac's help, all the geese escaped. Though Dax couldn't fly due to his injury, Mac carried him on his back as they fled to the beach. After successfully escaping to the edge of the beach, Mac asked all the birds to rest for a while. Mac was still annoyed at Dax's carelessness, which resulted in his own injury. On the other hand, Master Chef, who held a grudge against the ducks, tried to locate them using his private helicopter. After searching all over the city, Master Chef finally found the ducks and the goose at the beach. He immediately captured them. Fortunately, Dax and Gwen managed to survive, but they couldn't do anything, and Dax's wing bruise had not fully healed yet. Not running out of ideas, Dax then used a piece of Delroy's wing to catch up with his parents. Meanwhile, in the helicopter, Mac and Pam were separated from the group. They were both confined in a special cage placed near Master Chef. While Master Chef was focused on flying the helicopter, Mac and Pam began to slowly walk to free the group. However, their actions were caught by Master Chef again. On the other hand, Delroy, Uncle Dan, and the whole group distracted Master Chef with fruits. Uncle Dan successfully hit Master Chef's face and pressed the button to open the trunk. Mac and Pam, who were still trapped in the cage, managed to survive thanks to Master Chef's head getting stuck in the trap net. However, it didn't last long until they all fell from the helicopter. Fortunately, Dax along with Gwen managed to catch up with their parents, and together they freed them from the cage. Similarly with the entourage, they managed to break the cages and free themselves. After a tiring and very long journey, the duck leaders of the goose entourage finally arrived in the south of Jamaica. The place surpassed their expectations, with beautiful scenery and welcoming wildlife. Mac, Pam, Dax, and Gwen also reunited with the previous duck entourage in this forest. During their migration journey, they learned that the wilderness wasn't as scary as Mac had said. As long as they stuck together as a family, facing problems side by side and staying united, they could overcome anything, even disagreements. They realized that a harmonious family isn't one without problems, but one that can handle conflicts and learn from them. When spring came, Gwen brought her pet alligator, Topping, but Pam convinced her that it could put other ducks in danger. Soon after, Mac arrived with a new mission to escorting penguins back to their home in the South Pole. Moral lesson from the story: never judge a heron by its feathers, or you might end up dancing salsa with the chef. But in the end, it's not the salsa or the feathers, it's sticking together as a family that really quacks up the happiness.